Well, around 1.3 billion believers, the largest Christian community or grouping in a Latin church. The Pontifical Yearbook says the Catholic Church is the world's oldest and largest continuously functioning international institution and the world's second largest religious body after Sunni Islam. That's our focus this morning, going to Rome.
Yeah, this is as we get closer and closer to bringing you some of those live visuals coming out of the Vatican, where we are seeing the funeral taking place of Pope Benedict XVI. As you see some visuals there, some of the believers coming to pay their last respects. But this is a critical moment for the Church, and particularly for the throne of the Pontiff. This is for the first time in many hundreds of years, and as you heard in that package, almost 600 years, that the Vatican is essentially holding a funeral service for a former pope presided over by a present pope. That hasn't happened in hundreds of years, where you're seeing a pope laying another pope to rest. But you'd remember that Pope Benedict XVI, Emeritus Pope there, certainly one who has left quite a legacy in terms of, I suppose, making history for the Church. You may remember he was one of the very first, after many hundreds of years, the Pope to abdicate the throne. And this was after quite a bit of controversy around his handling of very sensitive matters, like accusations of pedophilia within the Church.
Of course, a big conversation that continues within the world's second largest religious grouping, the Catholic Church. Today we're observing the funeral service, the solemn funeral service of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. We're bringing you live footage. We've showed you that beautiful image at the beginning of our broadcast of the St. Peter's Square, where the funeral service will be held. Just in terms of expectations this morning, the coffin has been lying in state at the St. Peter's Basilica. This morning it will be driven through to the center for the funeral service, and what will start and is probably already underway at the center for now is the Rosary Prayer at the St. Peter's Square, and then of course that movement of the coffin going through to the funeral site, transported there for that solemn funeral mass of Pope Francis. And Pope Francis will be presiding, as Naledi said, over this historic event.
100%. And you perhaps we give you some interesting facts about the life of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. He was born on the 16th of April in 1927 in Germany. His birth name was Joseph Alois Ratzinger. He served the Catholic Church as its Pope from April 2005 to February 2013. And that's where we saw that historic resignation and his abdication of the throne there. But a man who lived a great amount of his life, all the way from being a teenager within the Catholic Church. It was at 12 years old that he was admitted at the seminary school in Traunstein, Germany. That was the same year that Adolf Hitler forcefully invaded Poland and started the war that was the Second World War. So a long life that he lived within the Church.
A lot of global heads of state unhappy this morning with that announcement by the Vatican that only 2 countries will have official representation at the funeral service, Germany and Italy. Of course, Italy represented by its president, President Giorgio Maloney. Some heads of state not happy with this. If you happen to see a head of state at the funeral, they will be attending in their personal capacity and not as officials. And this upsetting some heads of state, including the Portuguese President Marcelo de Sousa, who's taken issue with this.
Yeah, but of course you do have the international community watching the developments of this funeral of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. You'd know that even in Africa, the Catholic Church had exponential growth, particularly during colonialism in the 19th and 20th centuries, converting converting Africans to Christianity while discouraging even the practice of African tradition and culture. But a massive population of Catholic believers on the African continent and in many other parts of the world as well.
Absolutely. They call them the faithful, and they will be watching from all over the world on multiple platforms. It used to be a time when everybody would be sitting in their lounges and watching on TV, but of course digitization has brought about a change to that. People will be watching from any type of device that they hope to be watching on today.
Yeah.